Hello and welcome to Cognito Key. You hear this word thrown around a lot in the business news, amalgamation. But what does it actually mean when two massive companies decide to become one? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so before we dive into all the corporate jargon, let's think about it in a much simpler way. Just imagine two small streams, right? Each one flowing on its own. But then they come together. And what do they form? A big, powerful new river. That's really the essence of amalgamation. It's about creating something bigger and stronger from separate parts.
All right, that river analogy is a great start. But what's the textbook definition? Let's look at the core concept.
So, here it is, the official definition. Amalgamation is the combination of two, or sometimes more, companies into one brand new entity. It's a huge deal, a major kind of corporate shakeup, and it can happen through a merger or what's called an absorption.
Okay, so let's break down those two ways it can happen. First up, you have fusion. Think of it this way. Alpha Limited and Beta Limited come together, and poof, they create a totally new company, say Alpha Beta Limited. In this case, both alpha and beta are gone, they've fused. Then you have absorption. This is different. Here, a stronger company, let's say alpha, basically swallows up Beta Limited. Beta disappears, but alpha continues on, just bigger. One absorbs the other. Now, to really get this, we need to know the lingo. There are specific names for the companies involved, so let's get familiar with the key players. Okay, so the company that is being merged or wound up, the one that's essentially being sold, is called the vendor company. You can also call it the transferor company because it's transferring its business. And the new company, or the one doing the buying, that's the vendee company, or the transferee. Simple, right? One transfers, the other receives. All right, so this all sounds like a huge amount of work, doesn't it? Which begs the question, why bother? Why do companies go through all this trouble? Well, it all boils down to strategy. There are some really big reasons. A huge one is synergy, this cool idea that the combined company will be worth more than the two separate parts. It's like 1 + 1 = 3. Another big reason, to get rid of the competition. If you can't beat them, buy them, right? It's also about becoming more efficient, expanding the business into new areas, and of course, getting those economies of scale, which is just a fancy way of saying that when you're bigger, you can produce things more cheaply. So here's where it gets a little more technical, but it's super important. In the world of accounting, there are actually two main flavors of amalgamation, and how you classify it makes a big difference.
So you have amalgamation in the nature of a merger, and amalgamation in the nature of a purchase. What's the difference? Well, a merger is like a true marriage. Both companies are genuinely pooling everything. Their assets, their debts, their shareholders' interests. It's a partnership. A purchase, though, that's more like one company going shopping and simply buying another company's business. It's an acquisition, plain and simple.
Okay, this naturally leads us to the most interesting part for many people, the money. How do you actually put a price on an entire company? Let's talk about paying the price.
Yeah, seriously. Think about it. How on earth is the price of the old company actually decided? It's a huge question with massive stakes.
Well, that price tag has a formal name, purchase consideration. It's simply the price that the vendee company, the new one, pays to the vendor company, the one being bought out. And it's not always a straightforward cash payment. It can be a mix of things, maybe shares in the new combined company or debentures or other assets. Phew, okay, that was a lot. We've talked about what it is, who's involved, and why it happens. So let's boil this all down to the big takeaway. When you strip it all away, here's what you need to remember. Amalgamation is a really powerful strategy. It's all about combining corporate forces to achieve major goals, like supercharged growth, incredible efficiency, and sometimes even total dominance in the market. And that leaves us with a really interesting question to think about, doesn't it? In today's world, filled with these massive corporate giants, is combining forces just a way to get ahead, or is it becoming the only way to compete and survive? So, did you enjoy this explainer? I really hope it cleared things up for you. If it did, it would mean the world to us if you'd subscribe to Cognito Key. And of course, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching.